Hey everyone, welcome to our Celebrate Nonprofit Week Hot Ones edition, where the questions get spicier and so do the wings. Here, we have two champions in the nonprofit sector, good friends, Adam Bratton of the Nonprofit Partnership and Jonathan Rilling of Erie Homes for Children and Adults. Jonathan has been in the nonprofit sector for, over 20 years at this point?
Just about, yep.
Yep. And Adam, you started, 1997?
Yeah, almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years. Wow, guys. I wasn't even born then. Today we're talking leadership, community, and the magic that happens when the nonprofits show up, step up, and serve, all while serving some serious hot sauces. Let's get into it. All right, who do you guys think handles some spice better before we start?
We did a conference in Buffalo right after COVID, I think, and I think we ate chicken wings 3 nights in a row.
We're pretty equal. I mean, we go to Like My Thai on occasion.
Oh yes, that's true.
You get yours on the side, though.
Yeah. I'm 3 with 5 on the side. I like my Thai.
What do you get?
What do I usually get? 4 or 5?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some spicy lovers. Okay, let's get into it. They put extra sauce on them for you guys.
Lovely.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Put it on your plate first.
Please.
Oh, my word. It's so messy.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. We got hog-tied. Go ahead, take your bite.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Let it sink in.
It's fine.
It's all good.
Are you sure? Okay, let's get into the question then.
Okay.
What inspired you to get into nonprofit work, and what keeps you in it?
When I started in college, I actually thought I wanted to get in business. Took an economics course, realized there was a lot of math. So I went into political science. And from there went to get my master's in public administration. I knew at that time I wanted to get into the nonprofit sector, and so I got nonprofit concentration in that. And I always just wanted to do something in service of the community. Knew, I think right out of college, that I wanted to get in the nonprofit sector, and been there ever since.
Awesome. How about you, Jonathan?
Very good. I came from for-profit, specifically sales. Definitely agree with Adam with wanting to give back. I mean, I couldn't see myself doing the daily grind year in and year out, and having to achieve sales quotas only to have them raised if you did achieve them, and really fattening the pocketbook for somebody else that you never really even saw. So being supportive and advancing the mission was very important to me, and I'm happy that I figured that out at a younger age.
What I'm curious about is you went from a corporate job to nonprofit, right? So obviously nonprofit, there's 70% is women in nonprofit work, and obviously in corporations it's mostly men. So how was that like a different switch for you?
It just my career trajectory has worked out that I've always been in kind of a female dominated workforce, which I personally feel like if you want to get something done, give it to a woman, especially if you want to get it done right.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed many of the female colleagues that I've had, if not mostly all of them, in my career.
Okay, love it. All right, guys, you ready for the second one?
Yep.
Was it?
Why don't you drink your milk?
No, I'm good on the milk.
No, you're good?
No, try not to drink the milk.
Oh, really?
The whole point is to try not
Sauce
to
was really good.
get any extra. Was it?
Do you want some extra?
I'm good for right now. Very good.
Okay, so we have Super Soku here. Go ahead and take a bite. You don't have to eat the whole wing, but
oh, really?
I mean, that's
got you.
Some people do that. If they're up for the challenge, they do it.
Super soaker.
Good?
That's good.
All right. Okay, let's get into our question then. What's one moment in your career that made you stop and think, this is why I do this? Because I mean, a lot of the times there is so much going on in the nonprofit world that it can be hard to kind of realize what you did this to begin with for.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there have been plenty of those moments, depending on where I've been. So I've been in, you know, kind of public service groups, higher education, human service, history, at the nonprofit sector, at the nonprofit partnership. So, yeah, there have been plenty of situations where you see the impact of the work that the organization does. I was just talking to someone from Allegheny who, where I worked for a while. I went to Allegheny, worked there. That was always sort of immediate. So you'd see the students that you serve and interact with them. That was always great. You know, here at the partnership, it's when you hear folks that have followed what the partnership tries to teach and educate on, and their nonprofits are better off for it. So, you know, that board member that comes up and says, oh yeah, 5 years ago we were in your governance academy, now we're doing X, Y, and Z, and our board's so healthy, and that sort of thing, and you see the real kind of impact of what you do, where sometimes that's hard to see if you're a little distant. Now, again, when I worked directly with students, it was easier to see when you're a little removed from it. Sometimes you don't get to see that, but that's when I see it.
And it's not all about the metrics either. It's not just numbers. It's actually hearing from the people what
right, and that's a great thing about being in Erie.
Right.
It's a big enough city, but it's also small enough where you interact with those people and on a regular basis and see the impact of what happens.
Awesome, Jonathan.
I think specifically after COVID, I started to involve my kids and my wife more in our events and volunteering and just kind of those mission moments that I think, you know, my daughter's 14 and somebody asked her, you know, at school what I did for a living, and she said, he's the CEO, and they said, what does that mean? She's like, I don't know, you know. So I had her to the gala, which you volunteered at, thank you very much. And she got to see firsthand the mission in motion, like we always say, and the impact that we're making. And same thing with my wife, although she works for the diocese, you know, that's a very different mission than what we have. And she has been able to see some of the donors and some of our great stakeholders that we have and get to interact with them, get to know them above and beyond just the business relationship, where it goes into the personal relationship.
I mean, you're working more than you're spending time with your family sometimes, so it's really important to have those relationships.
And I would think in a for-profit, we don't have that opportunity. You know, it's like, you want to go to the office with dad, sure, but then, you know, it's very much a different experience when you go to the office, because I do think nonprofit's great because every day is something new. And I enjoy my trip to work because I don't know what's going to be waiting for me when I'm right there, and I that kind of turns me on a little bit. So
that can be hard though for some people, not knowing exactly what the day holds. You know, having more routine can be.
Yeah, and I think in the nonprofit sector, that's probably, as Jonathan alluded to, maybe more the case, because we, in the nonprofit sector, our organizations tend to be small, and so we tend to do a lot of jobs, wear a lot of hats, and so when you do that, your days just inevitably are going to be very different. And yeah, that's one of the cool things about my job right now is every day's different, as opposed to maybe a bigger, more corporate structure, which is fine. That just doesn't necessarily fit.
It also allows you to go to your son's baseball games and you know, have some free time to do that as well, which is really nice. Okay, let's move into the next question.
Some sinus activity.
I can tell.
That's good. That could be a problem.
Yay! I think I'm a little thirsty.
This is living up to the Buffalo.
Look at mine compared to his. It's just so big sauce.
Should we pour some?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Pour a little on Jonathan.
Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
Thanks for pointing that out, Adam.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, take a bite of this one, guys. I can smell that. I
can smell it.
That one was atomic. Wow. I'm gonna let that one sit for a sec.
It's got some peppers in it.
It does.
peppers in it. Okay. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next
Great.
question then.
Yeah.
How do you think the local nonprofit sector is evolving, and what do you think's next for it? Jonathan?
Sure. Oh, Jonathan,
No,
yeah,
go
go right ahead. Oh, he's busy.
Yeah, he's busy. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Take my wings seriously.
so the local nonprofit sector, it's ultimately it's very resilient.
I mean, there's over 500 nonprofits in Erie alone, so.
500 functional
Right.
nonprofits, and we serve a lot of them. The thing that we hear over and over is collaboration, and it's not kind of collaboration for collaboration's sake. It's organizations, leaders who want to spend more time with each other, get to
Right.
know each other, get to know organizations that are facing similar challenges, similar issues, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're serving the same clientele or
Right.
cause area. Maybe it's they're smaller organizations, or they have limited staff, or that sort of thing. And so we're hearing that more and more, and that's going to be, I think, a focus of ours going forward is doing more on that end, bringing groups, leaders, staff, organizations of kind of all sizes and all cause areas together in different formats to really talk about how they can work more closely together to make themselves more effective and help really address the challenges in the community. Well, yeah, funders, especially I would say over the last decade, really prioritize collaboration.
Right.
And I think nonprofits, and we talk about this to our nonprofits, you'll just be much more competitive in the grant making or even your traditional fundraising from donors and that sort of thing if you can talk about the work you're doing with other organizations to maximize your capacity.
Collaboration, not competition.
Right, and it's, the nonprofit sector, good or bad, is built by a lot of small organizations. So about 90% of nonprofits have budgets under 500,000.
Wow.
And that really, it's really hard to have significant impact when you have budgets under 500,000 unless you're working with others.
Right. Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's what is it? No mission without margin, or no margin without,
That's true.
But it's what you're alluding to is really the classic case of the economies of scale too,
Right.
with a lot of the back office stuff as well. And I think you need to be open to partnerships strategically before you need to be open to a partnership before you can't make payroll in 2 weeks. So
Right.
you always want to go in as the dominant partner if at all possible, but be aware of who's out there in the market that might be open to that discussion happening before it absolutely has to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, the best time to collaborate is when you're healthy.
Yep, exactly.
The worst
Or
time
it's too late.
is when you're desperate, because that usually doesn't equal collaboration.
It just looks like you're kind of,
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to save
Right.
Yep.
save the organization, and so it's and sometimes that's counter, because if we're running along well and we're healthy and we're strong, we're not thinking necessarily about how to maximize that. We're thinking, okay, we're doing pretty well right now, but again, it's just better to do it when you're in that position.
get ahead of it.
Yep.
Awesome.
I
All
think
right.
Jonathan needs some milk.
I'm good.
You're a horrible person.
I think you need milk, that's why you
I
keep
might
saying
need milk,
that.
but I'm not going to do it unless Jonathan does.
Those were hot.
Those were hot. You could smell them.
I
Yeah.
can smell it. I'm not gonna lie, you guys are doing really well right now.
Okay, good. I'll say
Like you're not tripping over your words.
the difference between those and like Quaker Steaks Atomic.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that
More?
Quaker Steak one. No, that Quaker Steak one will like ruin your.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
I thought the local would have been a little bit more
No.
spicy.
Mhm.
Well, I guess okay.
So it's good to plug Otis
It is.
12 with
Otis 12 is awesome.
Thanks, Otis 12.
All right, the next one, and well, this is the last one from
This
Otis
last one?
12 actually. This is Scorpion Blood. All right?
What a horrible
I
name.
think this is their worst.
Yeah, this is their worst. This is the spiciest. This is the top. All right? It's going to get bad.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Very cordial here.
Oh, you can
So
you
nice,
can
guys.
smell these.
I can't smell it as much as the other one.
No,
No.
I can.
This one, yeah.
Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit of it.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Why aren't you doing any of these?
Yeah.
Guys, let you guys have the fun, okay? I'm asking the questions here. Can only do so much.
Whatever.
I would be tripping over my words if I was doing this, so
That might be coming.
yeah.
It might be coming.
All right.
Great.
Go ahead, take your last bite of the Otis 12. Sorry, not last bite, but
Last bite. Okay. Oh man.
oh wow, I can smell that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you just do it fast? Is that the goal?
Kind of. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let this one simmer. Wow, I can smell that.
There's a lot of spice in that one, like
Uh-huh.
the last one.
All right, well, this one's a little bit of an easier question for you guys.
Okay.
What do you admire most about each other? Since you've been friends for how long?
Mm.
We've known each other. We actually got to know each other through a
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit partnership.
Cohort.
Cohort. I do
Love
remember
that
this
word.
story.
Yep.
So we were both fundraisers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Got to know each other, along with some other folks,
Yep.
Nicole Retzel and others,
Yep.
that
Who may or may no longer be in the nonprofit anymore. Some of the folks from that cohort.
right.
I got the magic. There we go. Okay. Got the magic.
And I can't even remember how long ago that was. That was
Your predecessor.
11 years ago,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah, who ran that cohort again?
Michael Brand
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
with the nonprofit partnership. That was before I came on. And so we got to know each other there. We worked in the same circles, fundraising. And then Jonathan joined the partnership board.
Oh, so you've been on the board for
Long time.
a long time.
One of the more tenured that we have, I think.
Right.
This one's hot.
Should we sneak some milk while she's gone?
Yeah. And then we'll refill it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think we're still recording.
This is the first time I've ever. Right.
What are you talking about?
Thank you.
Some person. Oh,
Look, yep, he took a drink.
oh!
Nope,
I
I
mean,
did
we
not.
just let
I
it
did
simmer
not.
for a
I
second.
did not. And yeah, just work together, both as kind of in the nonprofit board realm, and also just kind of counseling each other on our, jobs and careers. And, great thing about Jonathan, very kind of even, steadfast, works well with a lot of people, a variety of people. He chaired our board, and that was a good example, I think, of board leadership. Good at guiding the board, getting good input, good discussion. Leading the board when they
Yeah.
needed to be led, but also had a encouraged kind of a congenial approach to decision making
Right.
and discussion at the board level. So yeah, and then obviously thrilled that Jonathan this year took over the CEO position at Erie Homes. Well deserved there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'll echo Adam's point. I got this water coming out of the back of my head right now,
I got it over here.
Yep. So very, very lightly
Little
tied.
right here. Little right here.
So I
Drink some
echo.
milk.
Yep, no, it's very good. I want to say it kills it.
Yeah.
Initially, then
It
it comes
does.
back.
And then it comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I echo what Adam said about he's very level. You know what you're going to get when you deal
For
with
sure.
Adam, and I appreciate that. And I've traveled with you, know you personally and professionally, and I know exactly what I'm going to get. And that kind of puts me at ease whenever we're interacting with one
Right.
another. And I will always be indebted to you for the professional opportunities you've presented to me, okay, to allow my ascension out of fundraising into operations and into the CEO position. But, you referenced the board. That was my first gig leading a board. I had never been a board chair. I've been on numerous boards, but never a chair. And then the fact that I was there during COVID and
Right.
you asking me to extend it, at the time, I'm like, sure, great, whatever. But now looking back, it wouldn't have been right to just do it in 2020 because nothing was right in 2020.
Right.
Right.
So you encouraged me to keep that opportunity going for, I think, 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was real important to me. And again, I think you're very even keel, which is great. And I think I've never seen you flustered, which means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen you in a pandemic. I've seen you in a capital campaign. I've seen you doing stuff outside of the capital campaign you probably shouldn't have been doing, like what they call the clerk of the works or
Right.
project management.
Right.
If I ever have another band, it's going to be called Clerk of the Works. So
I do
That's
like
a great
that
training
name.
name.
yeah, that's old school. But knowing that you're able to handle all that without running in the corner and crying
Right.
or lashing out at others.
In front of other people,
Yeah.
at least.
So
Wow.
thank you for
Thank
your
you.
kind words.
That
Well,
is,
thank you.
how do you keep a level head?
I think it's mostly just my personality, and it's
Just
a
not to stress too much.
not yeah. My wife always jokes. She's like, "Why do I have to worry for both of us?" And I say, "Well, it's better than both of us worry." Yeah,
Very good.
No, that's so true,
it's-
yeah.
at least one of us might not.
I mean, as somebody
might as
that
well not.
worries about everything,
Oh, yeah, right.
I would love that mentality.
And it's perspective.
Right.
I mean, if you have perspective on life, day-to-day stuff, it'll pass.
That's exactly it.
And that's a lot of the conversations that we have here with organizations or leaders or those that are going through super challenging times. It's
Right.
like, okay, stay the course, this will
Take a
pass.
breath.
And that was harder to say during COVID.
Right.
Right.
Because that was so unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also, we'll get through it. And the option is you don't get through it, and do you want to face that?
Right.
So,
Awesome.
Well, Brian, if you're watching or listening, I look forward to meeting you and look forward to trying this.
well,
He's a
we'll
cool
see.
guy. He works with Penelec.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm joining it. And then you guys put
Jeez,
some more on
okay.
it before you bite it.
Yeah, that was a little.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
a
it
little,
smells good.
That was a little.
By Gargoyle, a local hot sauce company.
Same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
It
Sir?
was run by Brian. He's an awesome guy. Definitely check out their Facebook page. We'll tag it below. And this is what we call the last dab, everybody.
Last dab, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This is our last thing, our last question. We're
Gotcha.
gonna round it out.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what it, I
I
don't know
don't.
what this is gonna be.
I can smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It smells good. I can smell that garlic.
Yep.
It does smell good.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I'm
thank you.
curious.
What? You're awfully demanding for somebody who's not eating the wings.
This is what the host does. I demand.
Very
Good? Is it?
No?
Is it spice?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got a good taste
got a
to it,
little
though.
kick?
Mhm.
Okay, so our last question for the day is the nonprofit sector can be very hectic at times, overwhelming. How do you avoid burnout?
So we're both disciples of Ted Wood.
Yes.
And whenever I was doing the campaign with Ted at EHCA, he said that in his career, he always picked a road mark on the way home or a street sign, some sort of something on the side of the road, and left the office there before you get home. And then in the morning, that same landmark, you pick it back up and take it with you.
I love that.
And that,
Yeah.
I have had to mentally think about that often.
Right.
And that was very sage advice. I didn't realize at the time, but
Yeah, I think and I was with a leader cohort this week talking about kind of work-life balance, and I mean I prefer work-life integration. So it's maybe a little different than what Jonathan. I really don't mind bringing homework in as much as you do your work when you can.
Right.
So if I have to leave the office to go to a kid's baseball game, and then you pick up the laptop and do some emails or do work at 9 when the kids are settled or things have calmed down, or you get up first thing, or you come in early, or whatever it is, it's
Right.
finding that
The balance.
well, the balance, but it's whatever works for you.
Right.
And everybody's different. So,
Right.
My life was different when I had super young kids.
Mm-hmm.
My life's a little different now that I have older kids. When my kids are out of the house, that'll be different. And
Right.
and so and we had a CEO panel kind of talking through the same thing. There's a CEO who had, young kids, young family,
Yep.
cut it off at 5:30.
Right.
That avoided this burnout. There were CEOs that were older, didn't have kids at home, and
Right.
were much more like, if I just have to go in the office on a Saturday, I do that and I get my work done. And it's really finding whatever that is that works for you to make sure you get the work done. And
So it's different for everybody.
it's different for everybody, and that's why it's like, some of this work-life balance conversation is very prescriptive. You
Right.
have to do this
Right.
at this time, or you can't reply to emails between 5:30 and 8 in the morning or whatever it is, and it's like, whatever works for people.
Right.
And that's different for everybody. Everybody's in a different situation. When I was young in DC, I would work from 7 in the morning till 8 at night.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yep.
Go out afterwards with friends.
Right.
That was my life, and I had no other challenges or responsibilities. I could
Right.
do that.
Right.
Now I can, and so I have to figure out a different way of balancing work. And I think if you figure out that, it helps to figure out and avoid the burnout. I think it's also having good people around you.
Right.
It's also
Definitely a
knowing
support system.
Right.
Yeah.
knowing how to prioritize. All those things can avoid that burnout when it comes to it.
Now, how would you say to deal with, say, like your superior is different than you in that perspective? So,
Right.
how would you go about that? Because maybe they would expect you to do the same as them,
Sure.
whereas, but you're
Right.
maybe not working kind of
I
the
think
same
a
way.
lot of it comes down to communication
Right.
and setting expectations.
Mhm.
I'm here for you. I'm here for the cause, but this is what I'm going to be able to do. And this is, if you email me on Sunday morning, maybe I'm not checking email on Sunday
Mhm.
morning.
Right.
So what I always say is, everybody that is one of my direct reports has my personal cell phone
Mhm.
number. I have two cell phones. I have the business and I have the personal.
Mhm.
And then on the business is my Outlook that I'll go through. And I don't mind checking it every morning. If I wake up, I don't read the paper, I check my email.
Right.
And I always say, never hesitate to send me a text, give a call if something's on fire.
Right.
And people take me up on that.
Right.
But they're also respectful that I'm giving you my personal digits.
Right.
On this,
Right.
And I would say, it's, there are good supervisors, bad supervisors, and I shouldn't probably say it in that way. But
That's true.
Yeah.
but it's true, and it's hopefully you have a supervisor that again understands your kind of personal situation, what you need as far as support, what you need as far as flexibility, that sort of thing, and they can make that happen within the structure that you work in.
Right.
And like Jonathan said, having those conversations, and hopefully they're amenable to that. If they're not, you work as hard as you can in that situation, and go find a new situation. And I'm not saying that flippantly, but too often people spend too long in a situation that doesn't work for them,
Right.
without being super proactive about building their career, building their connections, and moving on when they need to move on. And so they feel stuck.
Right.
When you feel stuck, that burnout thing
That's
is amplified 100 times, rather than when you feel like you're doing really great work in a really great environment with a really great organization. It's the burnout is much less likely to come about.
right. And also burnout too. Like obviously, a lot of the nonprofit teams have smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have 4 people here in the office. One of us is part-time, so it can be crazy at times. Whereas Erie Homes has how many employees?
Excuse me, like 580.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely different for different
Yeah.
organization sizes and
And
all that.
I think going off of what Adam said too is like, if you don't feel like you can bring the truest form of yourself to work,
Right.
there's a problem with that.
Right.
And that may eat away at you quicker than the actual workload itself,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're competitive.
Yeah. Oh, Adam, I make my weird noises all the time. Adam's like, what are you doing? I'm just doing,
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Well,
He loves, I'm quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah, quirky. I'd
That's
say,
what I was
sure,
gonna say.
sure. But yeah, no, it's, you mentioned in the beginning, and I, again, bringing my wife in the conversation, she's always like, why are you always telling people to get new jobs? And it's like, because you spend most of your waking hours at your job.
Right.
Yep.
That's just it. There's no way to avoid that.
Yeah, that's life.
And if you're spending your waking hours at your job, you really need to work hard to try to find that job that works for you
sure.
and that you enjoy and the kind of work that you enjoy. There's a lot of folks that just get stuck in the cycle, or they work at jobs because of a paycheck or
Right.
this retirement that is 20
Right.
years down the
Yeah.
road. And in the meantime, they find themselves miserable
Right.
for a majority of their day, and that's just
And that could go on for like 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And some people
that can
still
go-
don't. Yeah, I've seen people like that.
right.
And that's what I'm afraid of that, being a young professional. I'm like, because obviously everybody's in your ear, do this, do that, do that. I'm like, okay, I just want to do what I'm going to do that I'm going to enjoy and it's going to make me happy and not hate going to work.
right.
Because I love working, but like, if I know it's not going to be something that fits me, there's no way I can do it.
Right, and that's great. And you and I have talked about it. It's like find the thing especially when you're young,
Right.
and you don't have, let's say, a family or have to worry about that retirement count yet, getting it up to a certain point. Yeah, find that career, find that path that of work that you really enjoy, because once you're in that, then life can be much better. If you get stuck just saying, okay, I have to have a job, or I have to have a career, I have to have this 9 to 5, I have to earn this much money, I have to, then you can easily get stuck in that. And I've seen a lot of, I worked in DC, worked with a lot of federal government employees, and this isn't a slam on them,
Sure.
but a lot of them were in the job because there was this golden parachute at 55,
Yep.
but they're 25 and they're
long time.
miserable.
Losing their hair.
And I was just like,
Long time.
yeah, and I could have easily gone into that path, and I was like, I don't want to go down that road. There's a lot of comfort at 55, 60,
Sure.
but there's also, it's like, is it worth sacrificing that 20 years of really happiness? Because again,
Right.
you spend most of your time in your job.
You never know when where life's gonna go to. I mean, you
Yeah,
can
sure.
say like, oh, that's gonna happen at 55, but
You gonna make it 55?
yeah, that's exactly it. Like, are you gonna even make it? So, I mean, the main thing for me, like moving forward, is like finding that balance of like living my life, but also obviously working hard to
Mhm.
And I
live the
think
life that I've dreamed of.
if somebody enjoys what they do, that comes through even more than just the
Right.
potential accomplishment of various tasks.
When you're passionate about something,
Yeah, yeah, and I think that has helped at EHCA raise people up to the leadership level quickly, because you can see who's there, putting in the time, doing a high quality delivery of work,
Right.
but also has the attitude that they're open to teamwork, that they're open to feedback about how to improve,
Right,
and they're very transparent with what they want out of their career.
right. Awesome. And that's a wrap. Their mouths may be on fire, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, but
Still
their
a
hearts
little
are
bit.
still full. Huge thanks to Jonathan and Adam for joining me today. It was really fun watching you guys kind of struggle through it. And we got some insights into the nonprofit world, not only in Erie, but just in general. It was really nice to hear about it. Stay generous, stay bold, and stay a little bit spicy. A special shout out to Otis 12 for supplying the wings today, and also Gargoyle, again by Brian. You can find him on Facebook. I'll tag him below. Did you guys enjoy the hot sauce?
Oh, that was really good.
Was it?
Best lunch I've had all week.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.